boop 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 boop. Where's the button? I can't find the button. 'Cause it's Friday. Getting warmed up on a Friday. What's this thing? Pushing buttons on a Friday. Pushing buttons on a Friday. Pushing buttons, pushing buttons, pushing buttons on a Friday. What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's Friday. Oh, this camera is like way zoomed in. Let's unzoom. De-zoom? Yes. There we go. That's better. All right. What's up, everybody? I forgot to turn down the other microphone. There we go. Hold on. I just noticed that on the mixer. And that means that my audio is probably still weird, so let's fix that real quick. Yeah. Fix that real quick. Let's fix that real quick. Copy left to right. Apply. That should be the setting. And maybe people will let me know. We shall see. Shall see if the audio is correct. What's up, everybody? How you doing out there in the world? It's a Friday, and I'm doing relatively well. I can't complain. You know how it is. But we got, let's see, what do we got going on in the chat, Rooney, today? Because we had an early chat started out. Jake D was first, followed by Big D Smoke. Let's see. We got 54 Punchy. We got Joel G from all the way out in New Zealand. We got Soggy Pitts. We got Chad Krotz. Dimps 1066. What's up? We got Mellow Moogle. Ginger Graves is here. Clay Deely. Ooh, I like that. Karen Pepe is here. The Fish Tank Barn, James Reet, and now it's getting to be too many names. But, oh, look at that. We got a brand new member during the show. Famous Jones. What is up, my man? I got to meet Famous Jones at the Aquatic Experience, New Jersey, I think. I think it was Aquatic Experience, New Jersey. I think that's where it was at. I think. The lighting's kind of weird in here. I'm going to turn this light on. Yeah. Oh, there we go. That feels like that's better lighting. I'll have that light on. I don't know if anybody noticed, but I cut myself right here. Right there. Right underneath my nose earlier today. That was smooth. It was a real smooth operator maneuver, cutting myself on my face. Yeah, but that's how it goes out here in the world of broadcasting in HD. You know what I mean. It's Nature Man says, I hooked up a local guy with some plants, and he told me he is breeding Congo tetras. I'm thinking about getting some. Does anyone have any tips or suggestions? Congo tetras can be fun. I would just bear in mind that they do get a lot bigger than what people think, and will eventually need to house their own... they'll need to house their own decent-sized tank at some point, so keep that in mind. You might start out with them being pretty small, but they do get big, and they need lots of swimming space, so you know what I'm saying. Let's see. Ooh, Famous Jones says, what up? He's into summer tubbing. Just added Hillstream loaches to a 38-gallon. Nice. I like that. Shooter McGavin says, no way. Brian P says this sucks for some reason. I don't know why. Sorry about that. Let's see. Famous Jones says, it was a quad experience in Jersey. Hope to see me again this year. I don't know. That seems to be, going out to a convention at this point seems to be on the ropes. It seems to be on the ropes. You know what I'm saying? So we shall see if I make it out to another convention or not. Oh, Alice KH says, now we all notice it. Well, check this out. I could do what a lot of people do. Let me go to video input here, and then I can go like this. And I can give myself, oh, there we go. Let's get dreamy-eyed. Let's get dreamy-eyed out here in the internet land, and we can work on our cat eyeliner, our cat eyes. We'll throw a little beauty texture on the screen for you, so it seems like it's so much better good looking in here. Let me put the sharpness back to regular, and there you go. Then you guys can go back to laughing at me having cut my face. But that's what happens sometimes. Sometimes you cut yourself right on your face, and then you're like, oh man, I got to do a show later. So I figure I just run headlong into it and, you know, mention it right out the gate, and then people will be like, oh, something happened. But he mentioned it. Brian P says, no, his Samsung Note 9. Oh, is it broken or something? I have a Samsung Note 9, and I'm not unhappy with it. I'm pretty happy with it, how well it works. His last 10 or more I can't see, says no connection. Tap to retry. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Dim says that's that instant Botox. That's right. It's that instant Botox. You can just rock the beauty face. Oh, just get that beauty face, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, look, these beautiful Instagram models are so Instagrammy beautiful." But yeah, you know how it is. It's the year 2019. People throw filters up there. Speaking of Instagram, people were laughing at one of my most recent Instagram videos, and yeah. So I'm probably going to keep putting those up and bothering Instagram people. They're like, you shouldn't be singing on here. I'm like, yeah, I shouldn't, but I am. Let's see what's going on in our neck of the woods. What are we, like 7 minutes in? Okay. I think 7 minutes in is early enough to get going to the Patreon part of the show. If you guys don't know, this show is essentially brought to you by the members, by the Patreon, by people using Amazon affiliate links and Aquarium Co-op affiliate links and stuff like that. So it's all in conjunction, and people wonder why I have so many ways of doing it, just to make it easy for everybody. Whatever style of thing that you want to do, you can do. You know, you could go over to Patreon and be like, I want to do $1 a month. You go over to Patreon and do $1,000 a month. You can do whatever you want. You can change it up. You could not want to leave YouTube at all and just be like, I want to hit a button on here and hit the join button. You could do that too. You could do none of the above. And you could also do that if you like. One of the big projects that I'm working on trying to put together is what we've dubbed a makerspace. And you know, we shall see how that goes, because I've been really crunching the budget with building the studio downstairs, figuring out what's going on. As I mentioned on the with the show on Wednesday with Alyssa here, I basically blew up my computer, had to rebuild it. Luckily, that didn't cost anything but time, so I lucked out. Luck of the draw, I was able to. So any supercomputer nerds out there will know what I'm talking about. Most other people will be like, huh? But I had to add a new SSD drive to my computer over here for editing purposes. And I was adding a new drive in, and I believe what I did is I conflicted with the PCI Express 3.0 lanes by putting it into the M.2 slot that I think conflicts with drive 6 pathway on the SATA, I believe, is what happened. And so it wouldn't boot from drive 6, and then I had my, this is my fault, but I had my hard drives mislabeled. So I'll make a sticker and I put onto each hard drive like what it's called inside the computer. And I had it mislabeled. Like I had the operating system mislabeled with the copy. So if anybody knows, if you have an operating system on your computer, what I do is I'll make a copy onto another hard drive in case I come up with something like happened this time around. So I'll make a copy onto another hard drive. It basically is a backup copy instead of keeping it on the same hard drive and like letting Windows do it. It's not a great idea because you never know when it's going to happen if that's what you're doing. But the last copy that I made was in December when I built this computer. So it's all just a long litany of operator error, but I had to backtrack. I had to move all these files off and move all stuff around, take the computer apart, figure out what was going on, and I had, like I said, I had crisscrossed two drive pathways, so my computer wouldn't boot at all. So I had to go find the other drive with the copy on it, put that in, then figure out, then take all the hard drives out, put them all back in, make sure that I had everything plugged in correctly, blah, blah, blah. It just took forever. It was just nuts. And the fish tank barn says, so I plugged it in wrong. No, because the boot drive, it wasn't that it wasn't plugged in wrong. It said everything. I had two drives labeled backwards. So I had put the wrong, label on the wrong drive. And to give you guys an idea, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. Let me see. Let me go to, whoops. Oh, I just unpinned it from the taskbar. Where's the... Hold on a second. I just screwed that up during the show. Oh. Hold on. I have to go over here, I think. Where's the... There it is. Pin that back to the taskbar. Thank you. Goofy thing. Let's go to File Explorer. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's just, I have 11 hard drives in this computer. So it was easy to mix them up. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, whoops. I mixed two up and they were going through the wrong pathway. So every time I reconfigured everything to go from the proper boot path, I had actually I'd misidentified two hard drives. So I had them plugged in correctly, but I kept going like, dude, it should be plugged into the SATA 1. Marco Peterson says you needed the disk 0 from your BIOS. Well, that's the problem because I could boot to BIOS, no problem, but I couldn't actually boot through Windows. So it was just a nightmare, And it's easy to know after the fact, it's easy to know after the fact, oh, that's just a stupid mistake. But as the same thing in diagnosing a car problem, once you know what the problem is, the actual work itself really isn't that big of a deal. It's like, oh, I need to pull this out. I need to move all those files over there. And I need to move this over to that, do this, reconfigure this. Okay, cool. And then it worked. But I basically needed to get into Windows to be able to figure that out because I don't have a spare computer anymore to just plug hard drives into to exactly figure out what's on them. So I actually just had to force boot through every single hard drive until I got to one that had the copy of Windows on it that's not the one that normally runs the operating system on this computer. So it's a little bit weird, and I know it's probably boring for most people, but that's what was going on. So luckily it was just some hours of figuring it out, and I got to the bottom of it, and yeah, so we're back on track with that. But the whole reason I brought that up is because I've been working on doing this makerspace, which is essentially, finding a commercial retail or a commercial, not retail, rental space that will be able to operate, public events, put a bunch of aquariums there, work on them, film there, interview people, be able to make videos there, like if people come into town, or even, let's say somebody local wanted to come and, work on a tank, or over a weekend, maybe do a barbecue with some of the locals, or if people were to fly in or whatever, just to be able to do events and things like that, and if people came to town, they'd be able to actually come and check out some of the stuff, some of the stuff that is going on, the things that are going on this channel, stuff that's happening. Let's say if, as you guys know, I spend a lot of time helping out up at Aquarium Co-op. I do work up there a couple days a week now. Let's say that Corey came down here and wanted to be on the show, and then people wanted to meet him after the fact or something like that. It wouldn't be possible at my house. Like, I just wouldn't invite a bunch of people here, because this is my house. As you guys can hear, you can hear Olivia in the background. She has a tooth coming in and is having a hard time today. So, but I wouldn't want a bunch of strangers here, and I wouldn't expect a bunch of strangers to be like, yeah, I can come over and hang out with your baby, right? So that's what the makerspace is all about. But after kind of, going through a bunch of the, what the financials look like and stuff like that, I'm just going to have to, keep looking and find something that might work better than what I've been able to find so far. So, Marco Peterson says doing that with 11 drives is a bit insane when you have a mistake like that, but you don't have 11 SSDs, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This computer has 8 SSDs running right now. I've collected them over the years. I've got a lot of them. But this Intel one is an M.2 drive, and the motherboard I have here actually takes 3 of them, so it's not really that big of a deal. Sci-Fi Swordsman says I need a home storage server. Yeah, probably. I might build a storage server down in the studio downstairs. I've been building a studio out downstairs because this room that I'm in is probably 40% my stuff now and about 60% Olivia's stuff. This will be her new room. So, I've posted some videos on the channel and stuff like that about doing all that construction on that. And yeah, I probably will set up just a server that I can just pop a bunch of hard drives in. I have some old cases here that I'll probably do it with, but I just haven't been able to get around to doing that at this point. And I had a computer just completely give out on me about 4 months ago, something like that. And so I decided to take all the hard drives out of that and then just combine them all into this for right now. Let's see. What do you mean? Aquarium Co-op uploading a video at the same time as the Corvus stream. I'm starting to wonder if it's some type of experiment. No, I think that Corey has set up. I think his Friday video uploads at 3 o'clock. So it's 3 o'clock my time and 3 o'clock his time also. And I think that it just I think it just performs pretty well if he uploads at 3 o'clock on Friday. So that's when he does it. I just think it's funny. It's like one of the few channels that I get a notification from, and it pops up right when I start the show on Friday. And it's like, hey man, what's the deal with that? But I'm sure there's also probably 100,000 other videos just uploaded right at 3 o'clock. Bunch of new stuff just uploaded. Let's see. Let me run through the chat here. Barbara says, I do not look forward to when I have to upgrade my PC. Glad you got it figured out. Well, migrating from an old PC to a new PC now actually is really easy. It's just really not that difficult these days. And especially with Windows, if you sign in with your own accounts, you can sign in with your own accounts and like sync everything. It actually does make it a lot easier than it used to be. So I wouldn't be that stressed out about it. Let me see what else we got. Famous Jones says he uses an external drive to back up all my files. Yes, I have external drives also. This is the problem I had was adding in a new drive and it conflicting with the new drive. So, all right, let's scroll back down here, and we shall get to work on answering the Patreon questions. I guess that was the reason I was talking about Patreon and all the other stuff that we got going on, but you know how it is. You know how it is up in this neck of the woods. We got to talk about all the stuff that's going on. We can't limit ourselves to just one thing. Here's some of the posts from last week. So if you guys missed last week's Friday's show, don't forget to go check that out and watch the whole thing and hit the like button. And, you know, because we got to hit like buttons and share buttons and heart buttons and, you know, all that good stuff. But I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that, you know, with doing the construction down in the basement and all that kind of stuff. A big thanks to everybody from Patreon and stuff that's helping that out. I really would like to start to get a solid schedule with the new studio going in of who's going to be able to show up when and actually be on the show and get more of a, what's the word I'm looking for here? More of a schedule of having guests on the show as much as possible. That's sort of the whole deal of building the studio and all that kind of stuff, is to be able to do it so on a regular basis that we'll be able to have guests on all the time, which is, you know, it's a lot of it's costing money just because obviously it's construction. I do all the labor. Well, Vicky does some of the labor too. She's my laborer. You know, so that's cutting a big portion of the cost, but a big part of the cost is like all the networking and stuff like that I have to do down there, plus, you know, extra microphones and lights and all that kind of stuff. So it's coming together though. I'm pretty happy with how far I am at this point. I would like to be a little bit further, but you know, wishes, fishes, all that nonsense, whatever that saying is, you know what I mean? It's like, we'll get there, just have to be patient. And I have to remind myself that. I'm not reminding you guys to be patient. I'm telling myself out loud in front of the world, be patient. Just keep working on it and it'll be done before you know it. Oh. I don't know how to say your name. Says, hey Joel, this is Steve. Oh, okay. So I don't know how to say your screen name, but your name is Steve from Greece. Just left a comment on your Crypt Nurii video requesting a video update. Yeah, I do some updates on that as far as like the live stream and stuff like that. I might do. I'm currently doing a bunch of plant videos right now of just you know, species focused plant videos for, you know, just basic information for you guys and stuff like that. So that's currently what I'm working on, and that crypt video was that, and I'll probably do some updates on it at some point in time. But that's my focus right now, is building more of those plant species focus videos, you know, that kind of stuff. Alyssa sent this in. A stowaway Corey showed up in the yellow shrimp tank. Saw him last weekend, and he was only half the size. He might be a starabi. I got the yellow shrimp a month ago at auction, recognized the seller's ID, and contacted him. He suspects this little guy hitched on as an egg, or as an egg on the plant he put in with the shrimp. I don't keep Corey, so I told the guy I would grow this little one out a bit and bring it back to him so the stowaway can live among the Corey friends. Ooh. That is pretty cool. You have to respect the resilience of a lot of fish's eggs and stuff like that. Like, it is pretty. It almost is. It's almost shocking to me still to this day how often they can make it through, like, you know, just being shipped on a plant or something like that. It's pretty wild. Andrew Crankshaw sent in. This is his 75-gallon Thunderdome tank. Well, it's like, if it's Thunderdome, then it's like One man enters, one man leaves. Master Blaster runs bar to town. Right? You guys have seen that movie, right? Not the new one. Uh-oh. Mad Max. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. I'll tell you guys this much. I actually got to play on a full-size Thunderdome in the desert of Nevada in the year 2000 at Burning Man. It was pretty crazy, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know if it would be a lot of fun these days. That was almost 20 years ago. Maybe it was 1999. Who knows? Let's just call it 20 years ago. And I don't know if it would be as much fun now. It seems to be a corporate entity. I thought last I heard Google bought it, which is it's totally antithetical to like what is supposed to be going on at that festival. But whatever. To each his own. I'm not one of the originals. I'm like one of the this thing's been going on for a little while. This thing's weird. It's a super weird thing. I'm going to go to that. And we just drove there, or we went. And it was wild. I was much more fresh-faced and good-looking than I am now, though. So, it was a good time. Let's see. He says, I badly want to rehome them and throw a Fluval 3.0 on it and do a sweet Planet display tank, being it's the biggest tank I got. I got the Oscar for when I first got into this hobby before I even knew the wondrous world of aquatic plants, which thank you, YouTube, for that, for reals. Hindsight being 2020, I never would have got the Oscar and went with more plant-friendly fishes. Just can't bring myself to rehome them. I've had them since they were a baby, and they got names now and all that. Good personality. Do you have any ideas on how I could get away with some plants with these fish? Okay, so I've encountered this issue so many times with a lot of people, because it is very common that people will get a fish like an Oscar, like a green terror. The chocolate plecos is a little bit different. People normally end up with a common pleco, and they grow super huge, and then they're like, I don't know what to do with this fish. So it's pretty common that this happens. I see this a lot because you often see a green terror or an Oscar or something like that as a baby. They sell for like $4.99. They're like $5 when they're little. They're really cute when they're little. They grow up. They have good coloring. They are really cool, but they are pretty aggressive fish. They will move stuff around in the tank a lot, and they become a lot of a fish. A lot of fish to take care of for the average person. You have to do a lot of water changes. You have to feed them a lot, all that kind of stuff. And it can get to be, I've heard the story lots and lots of times. Like, maybe I want to get rid of this fish. So when it comes to everybody out there, if you're talking about rehoming the fish, the first place I would go is Facebook, personally. I would say, here's the fish I got. Does somebody locally want to adopt this fish? It can be it can be a good opportunity for somebody who's keeping a lot of fish like this to get a full grown, really nice, locally raised fish. And sometimes you'll find a keeper that's like, oh man, yeah, I'll take them. Maybe you won't be able to sell them, but that's not a big deal, because you just really want to focus on the well-being of a fish. If you are going to be rehoming it, I never recommend people to take fish to a store and just drop them off. It's just not the way. It's just not the way to do it. You want to find a home before you stick them in a bag and drive around with them anywhere. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some responsibility, and take some responsibility, and just, maybe it'll take a little while. Maybe you have to post a thing up on Craigslist, but nowadays with Facebook and local fish club groups and stuff like that on Facebook, it's going to be super easy for you to find somebody who is interested in your fish if it has overgrown you. Now, if you want to stick with these fish, which that's the topic of this post. So if these are the type of fish you wanted to stick with, you got some Oscars, you got a green terror, they're pretty much all about reconfiguring the tank and stuff. You got to go with some plants that they just, first off, don't really want to eat. So consider things like Java Fern, Anubias. Most Anubias is going to be fine with these guys. And I would for sure get some plants like that. First off, probably attached to some driftwood or something like that. Something that has grown pretty well established and is stuck to something that they won't be able to move around. You know, a big piece of driftwood, you know, they might bump into it and try and move it a little bit, but they're not going to completely, you know, redecorate the whole entire tank. And if they did, I would be surprised if they'd be able to move it. But, you know, let me, how do I get to, I think I have to, hold on a second. Let me get you guys a link real quick. Yeah, I have to turn that off. And then I have to go over here. And then let me get you guys, a link real quick from Aquarium Coop. And we want to go over to Aquarium Co-op. And then I'll get you the specific link, so don't worry about it. Java Fern on wood. Fern on wood. So there's a couple here that, you know, so the Java Fern on wood, I actually was playing with these yesterday a little bit when I was up there at the old Aquarium Coop. I was working on some of the projects up there, and I'll make you guys a link so that you guys can actually, you know, you can just head straight over there if that's what you're looking for. Yeah. So here's a link right here in the chat for you. Boom. There you go. So that's the Java Fern on wood link that I just posted up in the chat. And you can check that out. That's a perfectly good option. Dimps says maybe floating plants. Now, I don't normally recommend floating plants with Oscars or green terrors, any of the fish in that realm, because they will actually end up being kind of aggressive to the floating plants. You might be able to get away with something larger as a floating plant, but you know, most of the stuff that you'll be able to find, like Salvinia, you know, obviously duckweed, but red root floaters and things like that are going to be a little bit fragile for the real mistreatment. You know what I mean? So it's not really going to be that great to try some floating stuff, but, you know, if you think about any of the Java ferns, anything with a thicker leaf, the Anubias is a great example. Mellow Moogle says Jungle Val would be awesome. If you could get established Jungle Val. Now, the downside is with Oscars and Terrors, if you go plant Valsneria and stuff like that, which I recommend everybody to get Valsneria. I mean, I took 300 of them out of a box yesterday and unpacked them and got them ready to get shipped out. So I can't say don't buy some Valsneria. You know, I think you should. But I think this specific situation, every time I've tried to put some in a tank with an Oscar or a Terror, they will uproot it like right away because they kind of go over and investigate at the very least. You know, they'll swim into it. They'll, wow, what is this? What's going on here? Like, what happened? You kick up some of that stuff down by the you know, when you're planting it, you're going to kick up some smells for sure when you're kind of digging around and putting the roots in there and stuff. So I would definitely go with some things like Anubias that's stuck to stuff. Maybe Bucephalandra, if that's the thing that you're looking for, that would work pretty good, you know, because you could tie that off and get it kind of established to a piece of wood. And like I said, they'll go over and kind of bump into it and see what's going on. Maybe they'll take a little bite out of it, but they don't want to eat any of that. It really will... It really will eventually, they'll just be like, yeah, that's that thing. You just don't bite that thing. There's no reason to run into it because I already tried to move it and it didn't move. And then you could realistically do pretty well. Let's see. Tommy Tank says, love your insight. I have a large group of platies. Seems the females are not giving birth. Rather, they get huge then die. Any ideas? Sounds like you got bloat or some kind of, you know, either a parasite or bloat. It could have a fungal infection. So you have more of a problem than they're not pregnant. I don't think. My guess would be that that you could just be having some overall issue with the platies that's just killing them off. Kathy B, thou shalt not buy a pleco unless you Google its adult size, kind of like planting a bur oak tree and planting it in a pot for your apartment balcony. Kathy, that is a good point. Considering there are a lot of really, really cool dwarf plecos out there that you guys, that everyone could get their hands on at this point, even the really cool bristle nose plecos, like the super reds that I got, I think they're probably like $15 at a store or something like that. So you could, you could literally go, I could spend $8.99 or $6.99 for a common pleco, or, $13.99 or something for a really cool dwarf pleco that's not going to overgrow your tank. Just a little bit of research on the plecos, you guys, before you go buying them. That's a really good point, Kathy. Thanks for bringing that up. Cheshire Cat, I've read Valsneria is good for uprooters and diggers because of their root runner system structure. Yeah, if it's like I said before, Valsneria is good because if it's established. It's not going to work out that great if you try to plant it with them already in there. If it's established, you're probably going to be fine. Noob Phobos says the Anubias Nana Petite in the bowl is really nice. I agree, 100% agree. You definitely got to get on that for sure. Ricardo Santiago with a $5 super chat says, have you ever heard of a purple waffle plant and what to expect and how to take care of it? It also has one white small flower on it. Yes, the purple waffle plant that you probably bought at Petco or something like that is not an aquatic plant. So take it out of your aquarium, take it outside and plant it in a pot and allow it to have a healthy life. I forget what exactly plant it is supposed to be. I'm 100% assured that I've had that question many, many times, and I've looked it up, and I don't remember the exact plant, but it is not an aquatic plant. So it'll live in your aquarium for probably a month or two and then die off, and then you have to go back to Petco and buy some more. I don't trust all companies out there all the time, and that's a perfect example. I can go to the Petco probably right now or the PetSmart and probably find 3 or 4 plants in their aquatic area that are fully submerged being sold as aquatic plants, and they are not. They can temporarily do it, but they can't do it all year round. HDJC says, how do you introduce new stock? Do you turn down CO2, etc.? My cherry colony is ready to move into the display, but the first few I've added failed. Tips? I would have to know more about what are the water quality differences between the two, because cherry shrimp are just so hardy. It would be a little bit weird that something like that could be dying, and not making it. That might not work well. Fish Keeper says, did a last-minute post on the Patreon. I got some bad news for you. You're going to have to wait till next week before I get onto that. Or maybe I'll do some members only or something like that. Maybe I'll do the members only this weekend, and I can hit up those ones. Because I load the Patreon page over here, and then I do not reload it. So if the show had already started or something like that, I have to review it and make sure there's no racy content or stuff like that that's not cool with the kids or YouTube, because we got to not get demonetized, you know what I'm saying, or kicked off, right? For accidentally scrolling past something that might not be friendly for the YouTubes. So it's nothing specific to a specific person. It's just I have to check it before we go live. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way I got to wear a shirt while we're on here. I can't just be shirtless. Me either. I can't be shirtless, Brendan Wagner sent this in. Update on my 10-gallon cherry shrimp tank. No shrimps in it yet, but I've had it cycling for a few weeks. Done 50% water changes to remove extra tannins. But the water is still pretty brown. I forgot to boil the botanicals, so the water is so brown you could not see the back of the tank. What are your thoughts on watercolor hardscape plants? Should I wait another few weeks before getting shrimp? Thanks for the great videos and live streams. I don't always comment, but I watch most of the streams. Oh, I like that. That's good to hear. As I love to hear that other people are down with what I'm working on here because, I listen to a lot of long format stuff, especially when I'm working all day and stuff like that. And I I don't typically comment myself really all that often, you know. So I appreciate you guys, you know, when you chime in and let me know. Now, first things first on this post right here, botanicals and shrimp, or sorry, tannins and shrimp. You got tannins from botanicals. There we go. You know, tannins aren't going to be they're not going to be necessarily beneficial. They might be just a tiny bit beneficial, but they certainly aren't going to be a detriment. So there's nothing bad from tannins as far as it goes for, and I think this was very specific to cherry shrimp, I think. Yeah, cherry shrimp tank. There it is right there. You know, it's not really going to do anything one way or another as far as cherry shrimp are concerned. It might be with some other, like Sulawesi shrimp could be a problem, but it's really a slight benefit and nothing negative. You know, it's nothing negative. So I wouldn't stress about it. As far as the hardscape that you got going here, it does look a little bit cluttered, but if that's the style you're going for, then that's all good. But the selection that you have here is pretty darn good. So you got some coconut shells, you got good mosses, you got some driftwoods, you got some nooks and crannies. I think it's going to be fine for a shrimp tank. It's going to be, you know, once you get it rocking and rolling. But I would probably, as far as shrimp tanks go, the longer you can wait and not lose your mind, kind of the better. Like let it mature, and you're going to kind of do a little bit. You're going to do it better the better that you the longer that you mature it. Let's see here. Let's see. HDJC says with the follow-up, I think my CO2 is just too high. Is at 6.4 pH, I think. Yeah. Yeah, your CO2 could be a little too high. You know, it's 6.4 is normally not that bad for cherry shrimp, but it's not great. Cherry shrimp just kind of want to stay around 7. I mean, you can go a little higher, a little lower, that kind of stuff, and it's not really that big of a deal for cherry shrimp, but they just kind of want neutral, you know? They just kind of want those neutral vibes, you know? Like nothing acidic or basic. Ginger Graves sends this in. Yeah. And I love to see this. Almost anytime somebody gets a plant flowering, try to send in a picture. You know what I mean? Maybe you post it to Instagram and you at me. Is that how that works? You at me? At me, bro. At me, bro. Your flowers pictures. But Ginger sent this in. Her Anubias flowered. Was taken by surprise during this week's water change. This particular plant is in the Mythic Beta's 10-gallon tank. Ooh, I love seeing Anubias flowers, man. It's always it's like a feather in everybody's cap if you get an Anubias to flower. Ginger also sent this in. Here's a group shot of the tank showing one dwarf neon at the top and the other fish just chilling in the tank. My nitrates were a bit high, so the tank got a 50% water change and pothos plant. She's been like that on and off all day. None of the rainbows are new to me or the tank. I've had them for around 9 months. That's never really a good sign, but it's not necessarily a bad sign either. It's a good indicator that something is going on. Could have something to do with the gas exchange and that kind of stuff. Here's the next picture from Ginger. It says, here's a better picture of my dwarf neon rainbow kind of hanging around the top of the tank. Can't figure out how to put 2 pictures in the same post. Yeah, I don't know how to do that either. If somebody's asking multiple pictures in one post, there's got to be a button for it. I don't know how to explain where it is, though. Moving on. Is this normal? The other 4 rainbows are not doing that, and neither are the other fish. It's a 40-gallon breeder with lots of plants, cories, tetras, rasboras, and 1 beta. And I forgot, I thought somebody had commented on this, but it seems like the comments have gone away. But maybe I dreamed about it. Maybe I dreamt that that there was maybe I dreamt that somebody had commented on it, but as far as the dwarf neon rainbows go, this doesn't look that great. as far as what's going on with this fish, it looks to me from this picture like there's a little bit of dropsy going on with this fish. Like the scales are kind of raised and whatnot, but it also could just be the image, and like maybe I'm just freaking out. But as far as like figuring out what's going on here, just work through doing some water changes, continue to do water testing, and figure out what's happening. Sometimes one fish gets sick and they're just old and they're just not doing well, or maybe they have a genetic flaw, maybe they have some kind of issue and they don't make it. You know, it's just one of those things that happens sometimes. But if you are maintaining your water quality, doing some water changes, making sure that you are giving some good fresh water to most rainbow fish want some good fresh water. You know what I'm saying? They want good, clean water. They're not like a dirty fish, a dirty water kind of fish. So I would keep doing some little water changes. Make sure you get your water parameters back to where they're going to be. I would check for pH, see what's going on there, and then work your way back to make sure that there's no ammonia, there's no nitrite, no nitrate. Maybe check your GH and KH if you're around, and if you have those tests, and see what's going on. But just keep monitoring your tank, doing some water changes, and try and get back to where it was before. And hopefully, whatever is upsetting this fish will balance out. That's kind of the best advice that I could give, because I think really anything that anything that you could throw. I think anything that you could throw in there as far as like medications or anything like that, I don't think we have enough information. It just seems like maybe this fish is just irritated, or maybe it's old. There's a whole bunch of weird things that could be going on. But that's what I would do, is just work to maybe catch up on some maintenance and get the maintenance tip top, and then you could probably figure out something from there. Jessica Thiegartner, longtime supporter, sends this in. It's starting to change. Which I feel like is almost a secret code, but it's not. But it's not a secret code. But you know how it is. But she also sent this in, on my birthday, which is always nice when people send in stuff on my birthday. She says, woke the boys up for a water change. It was my chance to be in my son's room while he was at school. I had no idea the both of them would give me the evil eye. I told them sorry, but that look from him was priceless. Oh, yeah. You know what? Like, you get a feisty male beta who's like, and you kind of like showing up, messing around in their tank, they always give you a little bit of that, a little bit of the old personality, you know what I'm saying? Which is good. That's almost always good. What the heck was that? Something beeped at me. Something's beeping. What was that beeping? I don't know. Ginger Graves says, keep in mind, Pracox dwarf neon rainbows live much shorter lives than the other larger, like 3 to 4 years most. Oh my gosh, somebody is posting on something and it's beeping at me. Oh, there it is. It's on the other computer, that's why. That's my other email computer that I listen to rock music with and answer emails. People are in the Discord today. What's going on here? I'm going to check. I'm going to see what's going on. Let's see. Ooh, intrigue. Oh, intrigue in the Discord chat today. I'm going to turn the audio down so it stops beeping at me. So we don't, so I don't, go sideways off of the show here and stop talking and reading stuff on another screen, because I'm sure people appreciate that, right? They're like, hey, I tuned in for this guy. He's just reading stuff over there. How weird is that? Night Flight says, beeping. I got one of those. Been trying to track it down for a year. I like it. Ginger Grace says, betas are funny. I have one that flares at me every time I come to his tank. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. That definitely does happen. Let's see. Big D Smoke with a 365 super chat says, copying Rum Bust for hitting my first year. Oh my God, that's a congratulations and a half right there. 1 year sober, man. That's dope. I'm so excited for that. I'm excited for that big time. That's exciting, and congratulations, man. Just keep rocking that. I know that another local here just hit 1 year mark and sent me a picture of his 1 year coin, and I'm excited, man. Anybody that's hitting that point, like, I'm always excited to hear that. You know, I'm you know, the next 4 weeks I'm about to hit 5 years, so I'm excited. You know, and it's really cool, man. It just keeps getting better and better. Just keep working on it. You know, if you got a program going, work your program. If you don't, maybe go to some meetings. Maybe start building some community. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it's all about. It's like this community here. I come here and I talk to you guys. I know it's a one-sided conversation, but when I do get to meet you guys in person and stuff like that, it's hugely rewarding. That's why I've been trying to put together a makerspace and stuff like that. See if we can't do more community type events and things. Alyssa Bentley sends in this post. She was on the show. She's been fixing her neglected aquascape. Fluorite red sand makes putting it back together more of a guessing game. Yeah, I know how that is. I've definitely been down that road. You're like, I can't really tell what's going on, but I got to just keep planting this thing, and we'll figure it out tomorrow. Famous Jones sent this in earlier today. He was, he sent this in 2 days ago. I thought he sent this in earlier today, but I was wrong. This was from 2 days ago. This is pretty cool. I like this. He's got the tubs going. He's got the overhead. I think he's got the filtration going, pumping up into this tray up here to do a little aquaponics action. It says, I'm attempting to set up a water garden with a 27 and 38 gallon tubs. 27 has white clouds and guppies. Planter has spider lily, rooster iris, and what is it? What are they called? What are they called out here? Because they're not. I just don't want to say that and get demonetized just for, saying a legitimate word and then have to argue with YouTube later. Planter has a spider lily and what is it? What do they call them here? Rooster tails. There we go. I was getting that wrong. And cattails. Worried about aquatic mint on the side of the tub. So I'm trying to figure out, the aquatic mint right here. This is not looking that great. You probably have too much, and here, you have to bear in mind that, like, some plants, when they're converting to from immersed to submerged or vice versa, they're going to melt off. They're going to die away. Aquatic mint, if I recall, and it's been a long time since I've dealt with it, but if I recall, you do want to have the roots a little less submerged than that. You basically want, a dumping system that's going to, raise and lower the water to allow them to give some time to, get out in the air a little bit. Night Flight says, congrats, Corvus. You don't need alcohol and dope to experience the weird and funky. Life is complicated enough. I 100% agree with you on that. Yeah, legit. Kelly Peterson, I looked this up earlier. She was wondering what this fish is, and it's a goby. It's in the goby family, and I looked it up, and I found it, and then I was like, yeah, I'll remember what that is, and now during the show, I completely forget. But it's goby. Now, this is a saltwater goby, and I can't remember there's a street name for it, like Stargazer or something like that. I think it's a Stargazer goby, I think is the street name for it. But it's not super common, but it's not super rare either. But one of the crazy things, from freshwater to saltwater, there's like 2,000 species of gobies that have been described, which means that they have a scientific name. They've been described. They have a Latin name. They have all that stuff. When something gets described, that's what that means. They have a Latin name, the follow up, all that kind of stuff. And let me see. I looked it up here, and I thought I had saved it. So it's going to take just a minute. that's not it. I had found it earlier, and now I don't know where it went. But gobies are one of my favorite fish. But like I said, there's over 2,000 kinds of them, from freshwater to saltwater. There's like 2,000 kinds that are already described. This is a saltwater one. Now, the fun thing is that most of, certainly not all, but a lot of the saltwater gobies especially spend a lot of time sifting around in the sand. They make a little cave in the sand. Some gobies will team up with other critters like like a pistol shrimp or some of that kind of stuff. They'll team up and get in cahoots with other critters from the world to have a symbiotic relationship to keep each other safe and stuff like that. So, but they're really interesting. They have really cool faces. They have a lot of personality, and they're really, really, really cool fish. And I would love to do more work with gobies, and I hope to continue working with them as much as I can, whenever I can. So yeah, cool fish. And she lucked out because this tank is 600 gallons with a 150-gallon sump. She asked the maintenance guy so she could tell me, and that's legit. That's a legit tank. You get to hang out and check out a 600-gallon tank. That's pretty cool. So I'm kind of jealous of that. I would like to have a 600-gallon reef tank that I get to go check out that I don't have to do any work on. That would be pretty cool. Mike Howie from the Fish Tank Barn sent this in. He found the mug that I like to hang out with. It's the Coffee Makes Me Poop mug. He says he found the coffee cup. My kids have graduated from Chuck E. Cheese and their cardboard pizza to Dave and Buster's. Oh, congratulations, Mike. It's good to get out of the old Chuck E. Cheese. What is it? The rat. What is it? The kids casino and rat pizzeria. Although I do have to admit, last time I was at Chuck E. Cheese, which wasn't that long ago, the pizza was better than it used to be. It was still a weird place, but it was pretty fun. But Dave and Buster's is way better than Chuck E. Cheese. So anyhow, when we got there the other day, this is one of the prizes. I had to go back and get my own card and win the 800 points for the cup. That's pretty good. I just like the whole story, and that sounds like fun. I would like to go hang out with Mike at Dave and Buster's. That'd probably be fun. That'd be fun. I'll go play some video games. Maybe we'll play some. I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for here? Maybe we'll play some Street Fighter. That'd be pretty good. Let's see. Big D Cheshire Cat says, yeah, that's pretty. Corvus, in the area is there a group of fish hobbyists within about a 20-mile range from Ken? Not really. I mean, there's the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, which they meet up like the second Tuesday monthly, I think. It's something like that. But I think most people would kind of be surprised that it's like, but if I'm going to go to the Greater Seattle Aquarium Society, their meeting, it's like 35 miles at least to get there. But I normally work on Tuesdays, so I really don't have time to, go to that meeting because it's at 6:30 or 7 o'clock on Tuesdays, and I work until 7:30, and I pick up my daughter who's right there. She's tiny. She can't get herself home. I have to get her home, and then I have to get her home real fast, even though it takes an hour and a half to get back home. But I work till about 7:30, and then I have to come home, which it takes about half an hour to go get my daughter. Then by the time I get out of there, it's 8:15, 8:20, 8:30 sometimes, and I get back here about 10. So I leave at 6 in the morning. I get home about 10. So I just don't have time for it, you know. I don't know how else I'm supposed to do whatever I'm doing, and I just can't make it to that. And I wish there was like, if there was like a weekend club or something like that down here, I could probably like figure out how to get that to happen. But as is, like, you know, it just does not work out to get that to happen. The GSAS is too far for me with the drive because of my back. Too bad we don't have one closer to Tacoma. Yeah, there used to be the Puget Sound Aquarium Society that was down here in Tacoma. They used to meet down here, but for whatever reason, and I don't know the story very well, but they sort of like imploded and went away, you know, which like happens sometimes. Well, we hit 4 o'clock and like 30 people left. That's weird. I don't know. I guess somebody cooler just went live. Maybe Philip DeFranco just went live or something. And people are like, oh my God, I gotta go DeFranco my Philip. Let's see. Bentley says, I spent a lot of time in arcades as a kid and would always play skee ball at the ones who had it. Yeah, skee ball is definitely the way to get tickets at Chuck E. Cheese or Dave & Buster's or anything like that. Skee ball is kind of the best way to go to get lots of tickets if that's what you guys are trying to do. Buddy in college had a reef tank with some kind of parasite in it. It looked like a 3-foot centipede. That's oh no. I'm gonna catch a rash for this for forgetting. Oh no. Somebody's gonna mention it in the chat, and I'm gonna feel like an idiot for forgetting what they're called. But yeah, that's gonna drive me nuts. But sorry, I forgot. But yes, very common. It does happen quite a bit, and you can get rid of them. It's not the worst thing, and oftentimes I just leave them in because it's not that big of a deal for the type of tanks I run. Owner at the local fish store keeps telling me I'm gonna have a saltwater tank before too long. yeah, that'll happen. I might be rehoming my salt tank here soon. I don't know. I'm considering it, but I got to talk to Vicky about that. So I might want to do some more freshwater tanks, and, you know, I don't know. I'll figure it out. What is your DKH and pH CO2 parts per million in your plant's tank with shrimp and CO2 injection? What nitrate level are you running? I run my nitrates around 60 parts per million. DKH and pH and CO2 and everything is different in all the tanks. So it's a little bit weird. Okay, moving on. We got to move on. I can't hang around in the chat too much because we got to get to these Patreon posts before our time expires here. Our time together. But mhowie9 sent this in, which is dope, and he figured out how to put multiple photos in there. So maybe Mike can let people know how to do multiple pictures, because you know, who knows. It says, update on the fish barn remodel. I have the first stand built and have started moving tanks. Congrats, that's awesome. The first pic is of the completed stand with tanks starting to be added. The second pic is the new discus tank heating up and getting ready for me to move the discus. I have the next few days off, so I'm looking to get a lot of this done over the weekend. That is cool. That is always good to get stuff moved around, to get the stands built, to get things where you want them to be. I worry about this garage door right here. There's like no insulation there, and it gets to be like negative $1 billion at your house. So I would be worried about that, you know, personally. Johan sent in another great fish of the week. As you guys know, these are almost always Johan's fish, like from his tanks. He's got a ton of tanks with a bunch of cool big fish. And here's another one. The ringtail pike cichlid. I have no idea how to say that one in Latin, so I'm not even going to try, but it's the ringtail pike cichlid, which is a pretty cool fish, honestly. Which, it's from Guaymas, Venezuela, which the first time I read this, I was like, oh, those are from Colombia, and then I was wrong. So, nuts to that, but Venezuela's close-ish, so it's not the worst thing ever. They grow up to about 10 inches, and these need a lot of swimming space, so you need a big tank for these. The fish is very intolerant to species of their own kind. You should keep them as a pair. The aquarium should be set up with stones, driftwood, and roots to create hiding places. Plants can be used for decoration as well. You should not keep them together with other fish that are much smaller because they will be eaten. It is a formidable predator. You should give them powerful live food. Frozen food is accepted as well. And after habituation, they will eat dry food too. Breeding is not difficult with good matching couple. The best way for a planned spawn is to raise a group of unrelated juveniles between 6 and 8 to sexual maturity and allow them to pair off. The best pair should then be chosen for breeding and other pairs should be removed. 300 to 400 eggs are laid and fertilized in a large cave. After 4 to 6 days, the eggs hatch, and another 5 days later, the young fishes are swimming free. Until that time, the female cares for the fry mostly, but now the male cares for them as well, which is cool. Really cool fish. Yet another careful to not allow them to become invasive type species. So be careful with that and don't let them get out of hand. Otherwise, you could run into a problem with the Earth planet being ruined. So don't do that. But really cool fish, and didn't realize that you definitely have to keep them separate. You know what I mean? Oh man, the fish tank barn has super chatted so that you guys will be able to read his post. To do multiple pictures, I make a collage in an app called Pixlr. The garage door is insulated and covered from the outside. Oh, that's what you got me with the trickeration. It's insulated and covered from the outside. He got me with the old trickeration. He kept the door if he ever sell the house. That does make sense. The garage that I have right now, I really want to take the garage door off and then just put a big door on it. I don't think Vicky's gonna go in for that, so I'll have to figure something else out. But okay, so you actually just make a multiple picture collage in the Pixlr app and then upload that. Okay, that makes sense. Kathy B bought an Aquarium stand for a 20 long. The doors are a pain/joke. To save myself, I'm not using the doors. Yeah, 100%. I would not use the doors on a Aquarium stand, or I don't even think I would even use an Aquarium stand personally. They once any kind of like humidity gets in there, you have a problem. You know, they'll swell up and fall apart eventually. Ken is in Puyallup, which actually is pretty close to me. Just down the street. I wonder if Ken owns a whole bunch of commercial properties and wants to rent a space out to us super cheap out there in Puyallup. Cheshire Cats is my photo viewer. XNView on my laptop has a tool to create a strip of images. That's what I use. Just select the photos and it does it for me. Okay. Yeah, so everybody's using a side app to do a multiple picture thing. So, okay, that makes sense. Sincerely missed that place. What place? There used to be an amazing place in Bellevue, Washington called Pizza and Pipes. Had a massive pipe organ, great pizza, and games, but like old arcades, it went out of business. I was trying to remember, what was that big game place? I can't remember what it was called. All right, we have to turn this off so I can look it up. What was that? Large place to play video games. And what was that place called? Man, I can't remember what the name of that place was. Let's see. That's not doing it. That's not doing it. Nope. What was that place called? There was a place that it had like a bar in it at the top, and then you play, and it had like a pizza place in it, and it was huge, but you could, you used to be able to just get the unlimited pass to you go in there and play video games. I can't remember what that place was called. I don't know. Somebody's going to be like, yeah, that's that place. And I'll be like, duh. Can't remember anything today. Let's see. Should get your makerspace in Fife. You can just pull off in traffic. The game place was Pinball Pete's. What are good water parameters for Monte Carlo in your experience? You need some harder water than I have. So you're going to need something with a good amount of minerals. Or if you have soft water like I do, you're going to have to be adding some crushed calcium or some crushed coral, add some calcium and stuff like that. And then, easy green, a little bit of CO2, decent lighting, just anything that you would call, with air quotes, decent amount of plant lighting will be fine. Good substrate, put all those together and you'll be totally good. But the real Achilles with Monte Carlo is having enough calcium and a little bit of hardness in the water. So that's always going to be the shortfall with Monte Carlo. Game Zone, that's what it was called. Game Zone, that's a good point. The Fish Tank Barn says I should get my makerspace in Fife. The problem with getting getting a makerspace in Fife is that I wouldn't say that Fife's like in high demand, but it's either like full of criminals at night or like just way jam-packed busy with all sorts of traffic and industrial type businesses and stuff they're like operating and doing business during the day. So it's not easy to move around Fife. It's much easier these days to just drive through and go to Tacoma. I don't think there's a lot of spaces left in Fife that are open. So that's going to be an issue. Rexina is asking, what school fish can you put with Senegal Bisher? I don't have an answer for that one. I've only secondarily been around Bishers before. I've never kept one myself, so I couldn't tell you months of experience, but I wouldn't put anything with a Bisher that I didn't want to get eaten. Because it's like putting a bunch of chickens with a pit bull, that people are like, "Oh, my pit bull's super nice." But there's the off chance that one of the chickens pecks the pit bull in the eye, and the pit bull is just like, that's it, off with your head. You know what I mean? And it's really no struggle for a pit bull to, 86 a chicken. You know what I'm saying? So same kind of thing with a Bleicher is they're all right, but they can eat stuff. So, Bentley says, my favorite thing when I worked in flooring was listening to people outside of Washington try to pronounce Puyallup. My favorite was Puyallup. Yup. Big D Smoke says, that's true. Fife at night, and Fife you get pulled over for doing 31 and a 30. Yup. Very true. Cheryl says, come out to Yelm. I wouldn't say that Yelm is on the list, but Roy is. And Yelm and Roy are neighbors. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. I think it's about probably a 25-minute drive, 20-minute drive out there. So it's not too bad. So I have been looking around the area to kind of see what I can find. Genius Jasper's asking, with a GH of 8 be enough for Monte Carlo? Is this considered softer or harder water? Yeah, 130 parts per million is kind of right in there. I'd go 100 to 250 in that range. Anything harder, you're just kind of wasting whatever effort you're putting in. So Ken says that's how Fife gets its funding. Yeah, that's right, man. They just hand out tickets and arrest people. That's what they do there. Well, and they have property taxes and stuff, Trevor Crawford says, have you found any specific spot for the aquascaping place? I've found some specific spots, but they're either out of the budget or you know, not right, you know. I did find a place that might work, but it was just so much of a build out, and there was no water in there. So I was going to have to store a bunch of water, and, you know, a non-insulated place. Yeah, it's just like a whole bunch of things that would have needed to be done that would have either like cost a lot of money, which is kind of a waste to spend on somebody else's building, but you know, I just haven't been able to find anything that's the right spot yet. So we'll see how it goes. You know, it sounds rude for me to say it, but like, you know, if I'd won the lottery, this thing would be being built like right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'd have a crew working on it right now. What is this? You know, it's like if I'd won the lottery, I would have, there'd be a crew working on it as we speak. But, you know, I don't have a company that's like backing it up or anything like that at this point. So, you know, it's just, we're working on a shoestring here, and I don't have a lot of money, and I you know, it's just how it just is what it is. So you just have to be patient, and we'll keep seeing how it goes. I used to work for Keystone Masonry for a few years. Last time I've been in Roy or Yelm, except to go to Stewart's Meats. Oh, yeah, Stewart's Meats is pretty good. All right, guys, I got to get rolling because speaking of makerspaces and work and things that I got to do, I got to get some more insulation up and get another coat of... What's the word I'm looking for? I'm losing my words today, you guys. Primer. I need to get another coat of primer down and hopefully finish editing some cool overlays for tomorrow's video. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. I want to thank everybody for contributing on Patreon. Mad props to everybody who's been chipping in. Thank you to all of the where did my super chats list go? Oh, there's my, oh yeah, Famous Jones is a new member today. Thank you guys to the members also. Yeah, we haven't even hit the 100 members yet. Remember, if we get to 500 members, we can bring the real fish talk back. That's what Corey said. And he typed it in there, even. Trevor Crawford said it'd be cool if you could set up shop next to Aquarium Paradise. That would be cool. You know, I haven't been down to Aquarium Paradise, though. I should have to... Maybe we'll go check it out and see what's going on down there. Maybe they'll just let me escape a tank down there and occasionally do a thing. That was one thing I was thinking about. Maybe Aquarium Paradise has enough space. Ricardo Santiago, thanks for the super chat. Big D Smoke, the Fish Tank Barn, thank you for your 3 super chats today. And Famous Jones, thank you for becoming a member today. I'd like to encourage people, if you want to become a member or not, or you could become a Patreon, like Chris became a Patreon today. Thank you very much, Chris. And yeah, that's a little bit for a Friday. I hope you guys have a glorious weekend. Maybe I'll pop on this weekend. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. Maybe I'll do a members only stream or something this weekend.